Hello, everyone. Good to be back at the beer garden today, along with Steve, Nathan, and myself. We are going to talk about the Wednesday race card at Happy Valley. There will be 9 races. All of them will be among Class 3, Class 4, and Class 5. I think they are quite a tricky one. So as usual, we will be talking about the treble race 7 to race 9, and then our best bet and value bet for the day. So the first race we are going to discuss it will be Race 7, it is a class 3 over the shortest distance, over the 1,000 meters. Let me start with Nathan. Who do you pick in race 7?
Yeah, it's some interesting racing on Wednesday night. We've got a few nice Class 3 gallopers going around, and this one's no exception. A very tough race, a very interesting race. I think a lot of punters had their eye on California Deeply, which is fair enough. He's been absolutely airborne in Hong Kong since being up this preparation for Tony Cruz. And look, the interesting factor is they put on Angus Chung, so they're going to get a nice little weight relief there coming into this one. I've got a little bit of a bit of a query on this guy now, though. I thought now would be the time we'd be seeing him step up to the 1,200 meters. He's been at 1,000 meters the whole preparation, and I've just been a little bit suspect with him. He gets very far back in his races, or he tends to miss the start. So I've gone slightly against him here. I do like him, though. He's one of mine. I've been a big fan of him. But for me, I've gone with number 9 here, Seasons Wit. It's Jamie Richards and Zach Purton combining yet again here from Barrier 3. This horse is first up from Australia. Now, I don't know much about its Australian form going back, but you go through his form lines, and the thing that I really like about this guy is his SP profile. So he jumped $1.80, $1.90, $2.50, $2.10,
Yeah.
and $1.70. And by the end of his preparation, he beat a nice horse by the name of Kusu. Now, you can tie that horse into some really nice Adelaide form down in South Australia. He's been very solid. And the thing I liked about him here, first up in Hong Kong, his barrier trials are outstanding. Go have a look at them. They're very good. He seems a bit green, but a lot of ability. And now we get Zach Purton on board. Another interesting factor for me is that you look at a horse in this race that's been really consistent as well. It's called Gorgeous Vitality. Zach Purton rides that horse pretty consistently, and he's elected to jump off for this horse, and that gives me great signs that Season Wit is going very well. By Capitalist, drawn Barrier 3. Jamie Richards, he seems to get the best out of these gallopers coming in first up. I thought the same thing about Tiger Legend last week. Got that one wrong. Hopefully I can get this one right, because I think this has got a lot of potential and a lot of upside based on what we've seen at the trials. Comes in really light in the weights too for Class 3. Light in the weights, considering gets in with the 118 pounds, and Zach's got to get down to that weight, which he doesn't usually ride this light. So the fact he wants to jump on, I think this is a lot of big ticks for this guy. I'm very interested to see how he comes, and you get $4 to find out, which I think is fair enough, considering we do have a powerhouse in the market with California Deeply. Race doesn't stop there, though. Again, as I mentioned, Gorgeous Vitality, I've got time for, and you're nearly getting a double-figure price. Special M was a great winner last time, but no Hugh Bowman this time, with who gave him an absolute peach. And now he's worse off for the weights considerably, as I mentioned, because of the Chung claim on California Deeply. So, look, very interesting race. I just think the map looks very nice for a horse that we don't know much about. But what I've seen, I'm happy to back him. I'll go with Seasons Wit. He's a bit of a query, but, gee, there's some big ticks considering Zach Purton's elected to jump on.
Yeah, exactly. So number 9, Seasons with the debutant will be Nathan's selection. This is quite an interesting horse, I think, because when he was racing in Australia, he was racing in Victoria and South Australia. So you can imagine that the direction of the race course is opposite to Hong Kong, but the horse is doing well in the barrier trial here. So I think he is settling well in Hong Kong in the new environment well. Of course, there is a good jockey and trainer partnership. So let's see. I would also think he's quite a good horse to beat. What about you, Steve? Who do you pick in race 7?
Yeah, I actually went for Gorgeous Vitality. I always try and stay away from the jockey decision. It's a very good point you make, Nathan. It's always a bit disconcerting when Zach Purton leaves a horse he's been regularly on. It's now back to Vincent Ho, who was on Gorgeous Vitality earlier on in his career. I just decided to stick with him. Both his wins have come over course and distance, and it was a very nice return to action after 169 days off when he was third to California Deeply. And last time, Purton didn't really get get too serious close home, did he? He realised he was just staying on at the one pace, finished 5th to Pretty Queen Prawn, which was a moderate run. But I just think, horses bounce back, and I do like the horse, interesting, and it's no bad thing to get Vincent Ho replaced. And I agree with Nathan on California Deeply. He's the kind of horse now that I would have thought he would step up to 1200, because he does get far back in his races. I don't imagine it to be any different tomorrow. And no matter how low a draw a barrier, he's barrier 4 tomorrow, but no matter how low, you still expect to see him circling the entire field and just making ground too late in the day. Special M's an interesting runner, but top weight, it's a big ask now, I think, Special M. The handicapper might have him in his grip now. But for me, Gorgeous Vitality, but of course the intriguing one, a maiden winner at Morphettville, and that was Season's Wit for the potent Purton Richards combination. But hopefully Gorgeous Vitality will run well in a cracking race.
Yeah, so number 7, Gorgeous Vitality. For Steve, he's always a horse to beat, especially racing over his favorite trip, the 1,000 meters at Happy Valley. And for me, actually, I have number 2, California Deeply, as my best bets for the day. The main point I'm having this horse is because of Angus Jones. As a bet marker, for the horse, it is not easy for a horse to coming from a very back over the 1,000 meters at Happy Valley. But California Deeply, he can do it. With a good overseas form, racing near Fireburn over there, and he is also quite adopting the new environment in Hong Kong well. Winning, breaking the maiden in his second up here, I think he is a horse always improving, because he's just a 3-year-old. And recently, I think obviously the top weight is a concern for him. But this time, Angus Jones on board for the first time, putting away 10 pounds is very important. Sometimes, some people may be thinking about, can Angus Jones handle this horse? But I think he is able to do it, because I checked the horse gallop record, the track work record in the morning. Angus Jones always rides horse, so I believe and the horse is already have some connections, so hopefully he can handle the horse well. And now California Deeply is the current favorite, 3.5, but I think he should be a possible winner in this race. So I'm going with number 2, California Deeply, and he will also be my best bet for the day. So to recap, race 7, our selection includes Nathan goes with the debutant number 9, Season's Wit, and Steve goes for number 7, Gorgeous Vitality, and my best bet number 2, California Deeply. So the second race we are going to discuss will be race 8. It is a class 3 over 1650 meters. Nathan, who do you like in race 8?
Yeah, this was, I thought, probably the toughest race of the night, honestly. I thought you could see this many different ways. I'll be having a few bets in it because I do think you have to cover your bases a little bit. But the one I found on top here is one that I've had a lot of time for. He's one of mine. I keep finding him, and look, he's a bit of a career at 1650, but I've landed with number 9. A bit of a trend here with the number 9s. That's number 9, Leslie. Goes on top for me. I really, really like this guy. Look, 1650's got to be a query. He's never gotten up to that trip. And every time we've seen him at the 1,400 meters, particularly at Sha Tin, he hasn't quite lived up to his expectation, particularly in the market. He's been the short price favourite here and there, going back early into his prep when the likes of Joe Moreira were riding him. And he never quite lived up to that sort of hype that we feel like he probably could have reached. He looked like he was probably better or a higher class than class 3, maybe even a class 2 type moving forward, but he never quite reached that. Then this preparation, his first up run behind Fireball over 400 meters at Sha Tin was a little disappointing, but ever since getting back to Happy Valley, he's been very, very impressive. I loved his win, 3 starts back in class 4, jumped up in the class 3, probably should have won again. He was very unlucky not to beat Yo Beauty, who was very, very good that day up on speed. They ran time. It was an impressive win by that horse. And then subsequently ran into Here Comes Ted in a blanket finish where he didn't find a lot of luck from barrier 11. This time, barrier 7 looks a lot more likable, should get a better run somewhere midfield. Now, the reason there's obvious reasons why he's the query runner first time 1650, but the way he's finishing off his races over 1,200 and the way he handles the turn at the Valley, I think he's a really good, genuine chance here. I think he's much better suited at the Valley than he is at Sha Tin. I don't think he likes the bigger track. I think he likes that tight turn at the Valley, and he seems to really appreciate it. So up to the 1650 is not as much of a negative as I would have thought it would be if it was, say, a mile at Sha Tin. So I'm happy to be a bit forgiving of that. We get a genuine tempo here. He gets jet barrier 7. If you can find a midfield sit with some cover. I think he can be powering home late, and you're getting a nice each way price to find out as well. Nui made it one of my value runners of the day, but it was just too hard because it's a wide open race. She's like still horses like Red Majesty dropping back in grade significantly. All Beauty, I mean, look, you only have to forgive one run and you can go back to his win. Happy Daily, Casa Cosmo, Star Contact's another one that I've got time for. Really, really open race. That's why I've went for one that's a bit of an oddball here. He's probably not the traditional type I would select, but he's just got a lot of upside still, even despite he's only had a few starts. He's only had, 11 starts, I believe. He's only had the one win, but he's better than one win. I swear he's better than that. He can go better than that on Wednesday night. I think he's a very impressive horse. And the fact he's by shooting the win, he's bred to get over a trip. So I'm not overly concerned about it. Hopefully he can improve. And if he does, you're getting a big price to find out. But look, write your own ticket for a lot of these because it's a wide open race.
Yeah, it's quite a tricky race, isn't it? And number 9, Leslie will be Nathan's selection. I do agree that he is a specialist over the city circuits. He loves the city circuits, and this time stepping up to 1650 for the first time, I think he is able to handle it because recently he is back from Chongfa and he's really, really fit at the moment. So I think he's now fit enough for racing and also for winning, of course. And what about you, Steve? Who do you pick in race 8?
I had similar thoughts with Nathan, actually, in that this was such a tricky race that it was worthwhile taking a punt on something at maybe a slightly bigger price. Storm Legend comes into the equation. He's a 20 race. He's a local, hasn't won in 20 local starts, but he's a horse, another one that I've always had a lot of time for. He just runs very consistently. He's never been out of this class in 20 runs. He was very close to a class drop last time, but of course he finished a very good third and trained by Casper Founds. He's reunited with Harry Bentley, who's finished 6th, 2nd, 3rd on the horse. He's slightly higher drawn than I would have liked, but we're talking the 1650 here. And you saw recently Rising from Ashes, horses can just come powering down the outside. A nice horse, a very tricky race. Of course, Red Majesty, as Nathan says, dropping down, but I still wonder if he's a bit anchored off his current mark. And Gallant Waking fared best in 2nd last time in a race that also contains Star Contact, Happy Daily, and Zone D, the frustrating Zone D, who has a white barrier this time, but that won't matter because he'll be slow from the lids and he'll be dropped in anyway. I think Happy Daily's a nice horse, but he just looks like a horse that always runs his race but has a rather low strike rate. And Star Contact ran well last time. He's still quietly progressive, I think. But and Gallant Waking, interesting, but of course interesting more so that Zach Burton decides to stick with Casa Cosmo, who was a good 3rd last time in a competitive race. Although Zach Burton says that he was slightly disappointed with his finishing effort once he saw clear sailing, and he might need more time, that horse. I just hope that Storm Legend, I think he'd make mincemeat out of a Class 4 field, because he's such a consistent type. But hopefully he can still find, from a nice low weight under Harry Bentley, he can find a belated win here for Casper Founds.
Yeah, so I won't be surprised if number 12 Storm Legend can run well or even break the maiden in Hong Kong this time, because last time out I think his performance was really eye-catching. He chased well from the back, and this time similar draw, so I think he's able to handle it. And yes, it is too difficult to pick only one horse from this race, but finally I decided to go with number 7 Casa Cosmo. He is a lightly raised 4-year-old, so hopefully he is still improving. And when I check his form in Australia, maybe he prefers a smaller race course. So this time, moving from Sha Tin to Happy Valley, I think it is a good decision for Jamie Richards. And also this time with Zach Burton. Again, I believe he is able to show some improvement here because he only had 3 stars in Hong Kong. And last time he raced over 1400 meters at Sha Tin. He did not have a clear one at the beginning at the home straight. But later when he get a clear, so he can immediately show a great turn of foot. So this time Zach Burton keeps on board. I think breaking from gate number 8, number 8, he is able to stay in the midfield. So hopefully there will be some speed here because Red Majesty here is the expected leader here. So hopefully there will be some speed which will be favorable for Casa Cosmo to improve. So to recap race 8, Steve goes with number 12 Storm Legend, and Nathan goes with number 9 Leslie, and I'm with number 7 Casa Cosmo. So the last leg of the treble we are going to talk about will be race 9. That will be another class 3, but over another distance, 1200 meters. Nathan, who do you fancy in race 9?
Very, very keen on a galloper here. Nearly made it my best bet of the day. I think this horse is really, really good. And I'm talking about number 9, How Deep Is Your Love? Great name as well. Its last start, it just should have been winning. It was a total forgive. Drew 13, Karis Teton on board for his second attempt at class 3. It was just forced back in the field. He sort of half missed it and then elected to go back and take his medicine. But he was enormous to the line. He should have been winning. And look, I don't know if that's necessarily the right form, but I'm happy to be with him. He's been one of mine for a while. I was back with him when he won in Class 4. It was an ultra impressive win. He drew 1. He gets a similar map to that race, and that's why I've elected to go his way. From barrier 2 on Wednesday night, he should just be able to stalk the hot tempo here, and it should be a genuine one with a couple of horses going forward, like your Majestic Knights and also, California Civil at the top of the page. Those two will go forward. They'll put on a pretty nice tempo, and How Deep Is Your Love can just track into it very nicely and behind the leaders. His form's been outstanding. He's just been unlucky. He's found Armour Eagle just beat him hands down. Fair enough. 2 starts back, but I feel like now with the gate swing and the weight swing, How Deep Is Your Love can beat him home, but I just think he gets the perfect run here, Karis Teton for John Size, and he deserves to win. I think he's almost better than Class 3. I think he's very, very progressive. I think he'll find himself in Class 2 shorter, sooner rather than later, moving forward. Again, it's a nice race, though. I've mentioned this last time he ran, California Civil's one that I've got a lot of time for. He just needs the right race, and I'm not sure this is it, even though he does get a nice claim here for Angus Chung. And a few others that, Armour Eagle is consistent, and Zach Purton elects to jump on board yet again when he did pick up the win 2 back. And he did draw 12 that night as well, so I could definitely entertain him again. But I just think everything points to How Deep Is Your Love getting a much better run than he did last time. And if he does, I think he's too good. I just think there's a bit of X factor about him. Yes, you have to take the 2.2 currently on the Jockey Club website, but I think that's fair enough. I think he'll pop up a short price here on Ausbooks as well. I think they will not miss him. I think he's a very, very good bet on the card. One of the better bets of the night. I think he'll be winning How Deep Is Your Love, and he'll be winning better races than this moving forward, but we'll have to wait and see. He's just got to put it all together. He's a bit green, but I think he can win tonight and he'll start putting his rating up.
Yeah, definitely. A great name for the horse. How Deep Is Your Love? Number 9 in race 9. This time a better draw, and I think he is a horse to beat. Do you agree with that, Steve?
I do. I was just waiting on Nathan singing the chorus there, actually.
Yeah. It's your time for singing.
It's not easy getting the high notes at my age. And yes, How Deep Is Your Love? Very nice horse. In fact, I made it my next best. My best bet is actually another John Size runner. And but yes, this horse is. There are some that you make a sort of best bet, or you really fancy in the back of your mind thinks it could go wrong. But all things being equal, it's hard to see How Deep Is Your Love not going very close or winning if he puts his best foot forward. And he's just got this simple progressive profile, hasn't he? He's had 5 runs all over the Happy Valley, 1,200 meters, a good third to Savvy Chic on debut, unlucky second run with Ryan Moore on board on IGC night, and then a nice win on his 3rd start. And then he's coped with the £9 rise for that first win. He was a good second on his 4th start, and as Nathan says, very, very unlucky last time. Karis Teton on board, nicely drawn. Of course, Armour Eagle, as Nathan says, drawn 12, actually defeated How Deep Is Your Love. But he's £6 higher, gate 12 again. That's not easy. And you're also looking at How Deep Is Your Love as a more unexposed profile. You'd expect him to be continuing to improve as a deep field gelding. Very nice horse. But it's an open race. Not only do you have Armour Eagle, you've also got Majestic Knight. Can't be discounted under Silvestre de Souza. And good old Lucky Archangel, I think he'll probably get slightly further back than he ought to, and he'll be staying on well. He'll run well. The suspicion is he won't be good enough, but he's the kind of horse that you could imagine making top 4. And sometimes I do wonder if the others fail, he's the type of steady Eddie that could profit from someone's mistakes. But if there's trouble in running, he's the kind of horse that could run well. But for me, How Deep Is Your Love should make it 2 from 6.
Yeah, so Steve agree with number 9. How deep is your love? And actually, I think jumping from gates 2 is it is a really good chance for the horse. But I think this is a race among Armor Eagle and of course How Deep is Your Love and also Sylvester de Souza's Majestic Night. But I go for number 2, Armor Eagle. Gate 12 is a bit concerned for him, but I think last time I was thinking if it is a good decision to put the horse in the front because he is not a usual leader. But last time he lead all the way, but he did not keep till the end to the finish, beaten not far and finishing 5th on the cup. But there was some excuse for him because in his 2 victories in Hong Kong, both of them were not leading. But last time, I think there were some excuse, maybe trying a new riding tactic, but resulting not good to be leading. So this time from a wide draw and also with the winning jockey, Zach Porton on board, I think Armor Eagle this time will be staying in the midfield or staying in the back, which will be much more better for him to find a cover at the beginning of the race. So if he can do it, I think he is able to show a great turn of foot. But I think the top weight is another concern. So hopefully he will run well when he is now reunited with Zach Burton. So to recap race 9, Steve and Nathan agree with number 9, How Deep is Your Love? And I will go for another horse in Orange Silk, number 2, Armor Eagle. So that's all for our travel preview. And now it is time for us to talk about our best bet. Nathan, who do you like as your best bet?
Well, I've gone with number 9s in every race we've covered so far, so let's make it one more. We'll go back to race number 3 on the program. A horse that we're going to try and pronounce the name of is called A. Americ Tespexo. Zach Purton jumps on for John Size in race 3 on the card. I think I did okay. And he's a very, very nice horse. He looks like he's due to break his maiden. He ran last time behind Sompak Fu, who was a very good winner, impressive winner on that night back on the 15th of February. And it was a run I wasn't expecting from him. I thought after his run behind E-Brother at Sha Tin, he was a little bit disappointing. I had him on top that day, and he didn't quite run through the line. But Burton's elected to jump back on here because I feel like his runs at the Valley have been really impressive. This one, and then you go back to his run behind Brave Star, 4-back, where he drew a nice gate as well. He draws gate 2 on Wednesday night, and he just gets the perfect run. There's enough speed here with horses like Lorez will be pushing forward. Super Eagle's got early speed if he wants to, and there's some nice, it's a nice race for a few horses. But I just think it's D-Day. I think if he's going to win a race, this might be it. He just gets the perfect run in behind the speed. If he can get a little bit of luck, he was unlucky last time too behind Sompak Fu. He sort of had to check off heels, didn't get out with time to spare, but he did track through behind the winner, and I thought it was the impressive run from that race behind some decent types as well. So you can tie him into some decent form. I just think this is the time for him. If he doesn't win this or at least go close, I don't know if I can ever find him again because he's been a little bit costly, but that's why I made him the best bet. I think he's ready to win in a race where I don't see a lot of confidence about a lot of these horses. HZ Telbian at his best is good, but he's first up and he's been a little bit iffy. Lucky Gold back to 1,200, I'm not so sure. A couple of first starters that haven't trolled the house down. And you go to the bottom of the page, a few okay horses in class 4, but probably find their best down in grade with Happy Trio and Lorez, who I don't want to disrespect them. They're nice types, but I feel like they found some nice races back in class 5 to find their victories. Now they run in the class 4, and I don't think they're quite up to that level. So the fact that A. Americ Tespexo nailed it. Gosh, so good. The fact that he gets in with such a nice weight and should get a nice card into the race. I think he's got to be the best bet of the day because it's a race where I kept looking back at it and it was the only one I liked. While other races, I could sort of pick and choose a couple, but this one, I'm having one bet. It's him. I'm having him on top. A. Americ Tespexo. God, I'll never get it wrong again.
Yeah, that's interesting. So number 9 is your lucky number, Nathan. Today I will be cheering for all the number 9s for you. So I have to speak it slowly. Americ Tespexo, number 9 in race 3 from a good draw, a horse to beat. Do you agree with that, Steve?
Yes, I do. I like number 9, A. Americ Tespexo. Thought I was going to crab it there, but yeah, it's just a nice horse, as Nathan says. His 2 runs over the 1,200 meters at Happy Valley been promising. He was 4th to Brave Star. I think he would probably been 2nd had he not been hampered late in the piece. And then on his latest start, it was another good run. Son Pak Fu is no mug. He's a good horse, and lightly raced. And it was again slightly unlucky. A Americ to Spexo, a good 4th. And to be honest, I think that race for the grade was really quite strong. I mean, compared to this one, looks for me so much weaker. You had the likes of Flaming Passion just ahead of him in 3rd, and back in 5th was Righteous Arian, a decent horse who have actually tipped up in race 5. And I think there's nothing like that in this field, considering it's the same grade, that's really going to worry the John Size horse. This is a really good opportunity for there's tougher divisions here in the three divisions, and it's very fortunate. I think it's well drawn. Zach Purton reunited. And again, HC Torbjorn, he's a horse that was very unlucky. I think it was 2nd up, and hasn't built on that. And Lucky Gold, Flying Sword, you'd expect him to be better over further. And Loris, a nice consistent stick, but probably not the horse he was. He's not as good as he was. And Happy Trio wins in his turn, but there's no way you can really describe him as progressive. And I think Americ to Spexo certainly fits that category. He's a nice horse, and the champ's been on twice. And lastly, he was a disappointing favourite over this trip at Châtillon behind D Brother, but we'll forgive him that. I think this is his moment for win at start number 7.
Yes, I agree with that. Race 3, number 9, A Americ to Spectacle for he is a double best bet for Nathan and Steve, and I think it is a golden chance for him to break maiden in Hong Kong, because last time he stayed wide without cover for the whole trip, and this time Gate 2, I think he will be in a better position. And for me, my best bet for the day will be race 7, number 9, California Deeply, that we discussed already earlier in our show. And the main point I'm having him is because Angus Jones to be on board for the first time. So putting away the 10 pounds is really important for him. So I think the horse this time will be chasing well more comfortably from the back, because with a lighter weight, he is able to be back in the winner circle again. So to recap our best bets for the day, Nathan and Steve has a double best bet. Race 3, number 9, A Americ to Spectacle. And actually, his name in Chinese is better to understand. It is saying meaning a people is having a lot of money and having a lot of power. So he is always a popular horse among the Hong Kong punters. So a good name for the horse. And for me, my best bet will be in race 7, number 2, California Deeply. So after talking about our best bets, let's look for some outsider that we like. Nathan, who do you pick as your value bet?
Well, yeah, hopefully we can find some more money earlier in the card. We'll go to race number 2. Each way play here. I'm pretty keen on one as a big. Well, I think it's a big price. It's come up over the odds for me. That's race number 2, number 1, HK Dragon. Makes his resumption of a 143-day spell. We love this combination, Lyle Hewitson and Douglas White. Every time you see them in the form book, you've got to be respecting of them. Their combo is very, very good. Always like to see them pop up, and I think they've got a couple combining tonight at Happy Valley. So this one's, he's by Lord Kanaloa. You go back through his form, he actually won at this track and trip with Zach Purton all the way back on March 9. It was a while ago, but the win was really, really good. Beat a horse called Sparky Star, who's been sort of consistent around this grade. And then he went to Châtillon for a run a couple starts back, and it was a really nice win. Beat Fireball that day and ran time, 122.1 for the grade. Very, very quick. And then he had 2 more runs, both at Châtillon. They were a little bit disappointing, but they tipped him out. They brought him back here, and I think he's a really well-suited horse to the Valley. 4 starts for a win and another minor placing at this track, course and distance. And his 2 trials leading into this have been very, very good. I've been impressed, especially considering it's been a long time off. He sort of, it wasn't as long as Coroidus, but when I made Coroidus a value tip, it was sort of a similar profile. He's coming back from a long spell. It didn't seem to be, his form going out wasn't that great, but he's trialed up very nicely, and he's giving me a similar vibe. And the fact we're getting $10 and around $3.50 on the place line, I think he's a good value bet. The query is he does tend to miss the start a little bit, but I like barrier 6. It means if he does miss it a little bit, he can still maybe press up and be a little bit more positive, because in this race, you've got horses The main danger for me is obviously number 5, Sixth Generation, but they've drawn 11, and that horse. The thing is, his win last time, he drew gate 3, and D'Souza could be positive. Every start prior to that, he drew 8, 12, 8, and 10. And every single time they've gotten back and they've been too far back and they haven't been able to chase down their rivals. I think that can happen again, particularly because he gets a massive weight after that win. I think he gets 11 pounds for that win. So he's got to lug the weight as well, the Sixth Generation, while HK Dragon has already done that. He's been around this grade before. So the fact we're getting $10, he'll be a midfield sit with enough tempo in this race. Hopefully he can be storming down the outside, because I do love this combination. Interesting by Lord Canelo getting to the 1650, but I think he's proven he can run out the trip and do it nicely. I think he's a very, very good bet on a tough card, but on the each way, I don't think you can miss. I'm very, very keen on HK Dragon. I think he'll run a hole for you. Back him at least on the place line and you'll get a result.
Yes, I think so. Number 1, HK Dragon in race 2 will be Nathan's value bet, this time returning from a short break with 2 good barrier trial. And as a quick mention about the trainer Douglas White, because he is currently in Dubai, because on this Saturday he will have Russian Empire running in Maidan and in the Jabal Haddad in the Group 1. So hopefully he can have some good performance in Maidan as well, because he just have a victory in Qatar. So hopefully we will be cheering for Douglas White. He is of course a legend in Hong Kong, a good jockey before transforming to be a trainer. He is now very successful, so best wishes to him. And Steve, can you tell us who will be your value bet?
Well, in my infinite wisdom, I went to race 1 of Class 5. But number 6, being brave. Number 6, Our Creed, and a horse that won at Ellerslie back in 2019. I think it's safe to say he's forgotten how to win. We're talking about 4 years now. It's been a long time. He's a 20. Yeah. He's still looking for a local success after 22 starts. One of these horses, a son of Charm Spirit, a bit of a cliff horse of mine. There's a bit of a roll call of jockeys who have been on board and failed. They've got Keith Young and Tony Picone and Harry Bentley and Zach Burton, Alexi Bedell, who have all tried to win and failed. And it's Luke Ferraris' turn this time. I always just think he's a horse that has a win in him. He started from an initial rating of 72. He's down to a career low of 33. And it's one of these races, when I actually started looking at the form, I thought, no, he's not entitled to beat Shahrazad. He's not entitled to beat this horse. And I thought, no, go back to your gut feeling, because racing is not straightforward in Hong Kong. And it's the horse I like. I think from gate 6, there's a chance he can get to the front or at least be prominent. And I think if you actually look at his profile, he's not exactly been beaten a nose in races. It's generally 3 lengths or 3.5 lengths. But his penultimate start, where he was 3.5 lengths back and forth to London Lucky Star, isn't quite as bad as it looks, because London Lucky Star won by 3 lengths. So it was then a half a length back to the third, which was Medical Elite. And so he's only half a length off the third place. So it's a bit of a blanket finish for the placings. So I think Our Creed, I think he's a nice horse. And from gate 6, I'm optimistic of a good run. He must get a chance now. He's off a mark of 33. It's a 39 pounds lower than his initial rating. So there's no excuses these days, hopefully.
Yeah, so it is quite good for us to find some outsider in the first race. So number 6, Our Creed in the opener will be Steve's value bet. I think it is always good to be a front runner in Class 5. So hopefully he can run well. But I will also have my value bet in the opener. I like Ho Junior. It is number Ho Junior, number 4 in the card. This time he will be trying the 1650 meters at a Happy Valley for the first time. I think he is a bit more suitable for racing over the city circuit, and he is also prefer a longer distance. We see that recently he has 2 runs in Class 5, and I think there were both some excuse for him, because he did not have a good draw. So of course this time also not a good draw, but I think he ran quite well at Sha Tin recently over 1400 meters. He's very wide with no cover, and he can still keep his speed in the home straight. So I think he's a bit competitive in Class 5, and he is quite young and unexposed. And so hopefully we can see him to improve, especially this time with Vincent Holt on board again. He's on fire last Sunday with 2 big victories on board, of course, Golden 60 and also Super Sunny Saint. And this time Ho Ho Jr. Will be racing for this trip and distance for the first time. So I believe that after breaking from gate 9, he will be staying in the midfield with cover, because there should be some horses to be leading here, including number 6 Our Creed, and the pace will not be too slow in the opener, I think. So it is better for Ho Ho Jr. to find a better position. So a longer distance should be more suitable for him, because his pedigree is suggesting that he is looking for a longer and longer distance. So hopefully 1650 is suitable for him. So to recap, our value bet for the day is race 2 number 1 HK Dragon for Nathan, and race 1 number 6 Our Creed for Steve, and also race 1 number 4 Ho Ho Jr. for myself. So that's all for our preview for the day. Hopefully, we can bring you some winner, as mentioned earlier in the show. I think that the card is quite tricky this time, because it is some 9 races among class 3 to class 5 horses. So we will see some class 2 race next Wednesday. And hopefully this time we can have some good results for you. See you next time for the Sha Tin preview. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.